Do you want to be at the height of Minecraft fashion? Do you need something spooky for your deco? Do you just not like your friends and want to prank them? Ah! Then this easy, safe, reliable, and semi-AFKable mobhead farm is for you. Let's get to it. Before we get started, there are 3 types of mob heads that you can gain from this type of farm. You cannot get the wither skeleton skulls with this method, so we're not going to cover those. Those drop by killing wither skeletons. But you can get zombie heads, skeleton skulls, and creeper heads. The manual way of doing this is by getting a charge creeper to blow up a zombie, skeleton, or creeper, and then they will drop a head. You can only get 1 head per charge creeper, but normally what you do is you wait for a thunderstorm. I'm just going to set it to thunder. Find an area that has a creeper and has a zombie. You hit him with a channeling trident, and that will turn the creeper into a charge creeper, and then you just get him to blow up. However, this can be a little dangerous. You can see that the zombie dropped his head, but this is a problem. So what we need is a controlled, safe environment in order to perform this. So that's what this farm is for. The way that this works is you have a player AFKing right on top of that shroom light. And then up here we have 2 mob spawning chambers. We have one that has trapdoors so it can only spawn creepers. And one on this side that can spawn the other 3 types, the zombies, skeletons, and creepers. We're using the trapdoors to ensure that only creepers can spawn on this side. And then we're using these slabs to also ensure that no spiders can spawn. They don't drop heads, so we don't need them taking up mob cap. We do have this section larger, so there are 2 sets of spawning platforms over here for creepers, simply so that we can weight it more towards getting creepers in our charge creeper station, because the game will still attempt to spawn zombies and skeletons and spiders in here. Those spawn attempts will just fail. So we need to make sure that we give it a little bit extra creeper advantage as opposed to the other mobs, so that we can have those ready to blow up, because what we want ideally is to have 35 mobs in this chamber, 35 charge creepers in this chamber. So that's the ideal, is getting 35 heads per run of this. Now, sometimes you are going to get a little bit lower than that because the creeper weighting is not going to give as many creepers over here, and that mob cap is going to fill up inside of here. And what happens as the player AFKs, those mobs will drop down into these chambers. So we have the heads that we want to acquire on this side and creepers on this side. We can see here from this sphere, when the player is standing on that shroom light, this is how far away mobs can spawn from the player. So outside of this sphere, they can spawn. Whereas this sphere shows how far away they cannot despawn. So once they're inside this sphere, when a player is standing there, the mobs cannot randomly despawn. So as we are AFKing at this spot, the mobs are falling inside of that sphere, and they will not despawn. So they will always stay there, and we're ready to AFK. And obviously, the reason I built this all the way up in the air above the ocean is so that there's nothing inside the spawn sphere, so that my entire player's mob cap can spawn inside there and then sit inside those holding cells. You could build this lower down if you want, or not above an ocean. However, in this case, we're not really worried about the height map rates, because this, you really have to wait for a thunderstorm anyways. As we saw, we were using the Trident before. However, we don't want to use the Trident this time. I put this in the thumbnail of this method does not use a trident, and that is because of the lightning rod. So creepers do not have to be hit by a trident, they just have to be hit by lightning. The channeling trident is a way to control that, but another way to control that is through this lightning rod. That makes it so that we don't have to have any contact with those creepers or those charge creepers as they come in. You have the player stand on this spot and AFK. Those will then fill up with mobs that are not going to despawn as long as we stay at this block. And this is why the height map doesn't matter, because we now have to wait for a thunderstorm. What we need is we need this lightning rod to get struck so these creepers turn into charge creepers and then get released. I'm going to set it to a thunderstorm, and we're going to watch this until we see that get hit and see how those creepers come out. And there we go. We saw the creepers get struck. They all turned into charge creepers and then moved down to this holding cell. Once again, this can happen while you're completely AFK. You're standing at this spot, and then you come back after a thunderstorm, and you'll see charge creepers in there and your regular mobs in there. Once again, I did promise that this was reliable and completely safe. So now we're going to look at how you... Excuse me, I'm recording. I did say that this was reliable and safe, and so now we're going to look at how you do that in a controlled environment. Once you're done AFKing and you see that's filled up with charge creepers, I do have right here some blast protection 4 armor. You're going to want to put that on. And then some flint and steel. What we can do is we can use these 2 note blocks to call down one of our mobs through minecarts. So we can see when I right click on that note block, it's going to shoot out a minecart, grab us a creeper and send it down. And same thing over on this side. Shoot out a minecart, grab a mob, and send it down. They will now be sitting next to each other in minecarts, and we can ignite the charge creeper with a flint and steel. If you are in survival, and I'm going to go into survival to show that I will survive this, you need to light and run as fast as you can behind this red line. That's the blast radius for some damage. Now, it's not going to kill you if you get right here, if you have the blast protection on. So I'm going to light and run. We can see there I didn't get far enough away, but because of the blast protection, I didn't take much damage. And then I come over to the chest, and there's my mob head. So I ran this a few times before that, as you can see. So we got zombie heads, skeleton heads, and this is completely repeatable. So I'll just right-click my note blocks again. I'll get my mob spit out. I'm going to light and run. Just make sure that you have enough minecarts inside of these chests here, because if you do a call and there's no minecart in it, it won't do anything. All of your minecarts are going to store down in this chest down here after you blow up the mob, so you can recycle them. Just take them out of here and put them back. But I've added a few chests of minecarts on here so that you don't have to worry about running out. However, if you do, again, these chambers are sealed off. So if you want to add yourself a little platform here that you can walk over and fill up the chest with minecarts, you can do that. Just once again, make sure that if you do fly away from this farm, if you fly more than 128 blocks away from these chambers, everything is going to despawn. You also notice this is not a full spawning skirt. Because of the height map and the fact that we have to wait so long to get a thunderstorm, we're not really looking to boost that up. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could build this out even further. 20 blocks from any space is your optimum. And then also here, we've made sure that we filled in the walls with stairs, so it's a transparent block, so that pack spawns can still go through into the farm that start out here. And finally, luckily, because of the mob cap changes to 118, that means that you can AFK this on a server, and even though other players are doing other things that have mobs loaded, you can still get some mobs loaded here. Just make sure if you have a server with a mob switch, obviously that needs to be turned off. That's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Down in the video description, there will be a world download link where you can download this world that has this farm in it. So you can either look at it and decide how to build it for yourself, or you can grab a schematic of it and build it. I hope you all enjoyed it. Have a good one. Bye.